Squad, how you doing? Today BlackGhostFace is here to do another revenge video. And this one's a passive aggressive ways part 4. Now, I've seen the extreme ones, which to me not really extreme to me. So I think passive aggressive is way better than extreme, honestly. Cause it's like extreme is like I say, it involves like burning someone's house down, maybe like, I don't know, throwing a car into the ocean or something. You know what I'm saying? Like stuff like that. That's like taking it to the extreme. But that's like not extreme in those cases. But we're gonna jump into the passive aggressive part 4.
Revenge. People say it's a dish best served cold, but it's a lot funnier when it's served as passive-aggressively as possible. From handing the school bully a popsicle made of poop to embarrassingly exposing a scheming scammer, it's time to dive into some more awesomely passive-aggressive ways people got revenge.
Yeah, so like I said, the passive-aggressive ones
Madhouse mischief.
Kinda extreme.
Getting cheated on
And
is enough to drive you crazy.
Passive.
But what if you were cheated on, dumped, and then told to pack your things and leave, all while your partner was away on a work trip? Well, that's exactly what happened to one man called Duke. So he decided to drive her crazy, quite literally. After recovering from the brutal news, Duke bought a load of tiny noisemakers. They're incredibly annoying devices that make quiet, barely audible sounds at random intervals. You know, totally non-creepy things like children's laughter and odd scratching noises. Then, before he left the house, Duke sneakily hid these little noisemakers everywhere he could. A few months passed, and he was out with a friend one night when they asked if he knew any good pranks to play on people. Duke started to tell them about the noisemakers when they suddenly burst out laughing. Naturally, Duke asked why. It turns out his ex and her new partner had only lasted a few months. Apparently, they'd both been complaining to everyone about weird, inexplicable noises they'd been hearing around their house. What's more, they often didn't hear the same things as each other. Neither had any clue what was going on, and after trying to figure it out for ages, the new partner had finally reached the only conclusion he could: that they were both going insane. Unable to stand it, he bailed from both the house and the relationship. And Duke's ex moved out shortly afterwards. When his friend had finished telling him everything, Duke was left grinning. The only truly crazy thing about the whole situation was how well his plan had worked. Don't middle with me.
Really?
Occasionally, you'll meet people who are jerks for no reason other than, well, they're jerks. Reddit user Troubled Neighbor met just such a group of girls while dining at his favorite restaurant, back at the start of 2022. They seemed fine at first, sitting in the booth behind him and causing no trouble. After they left, one of them forgot their glasses. The waitress quickly asked if he could go after them and return them. Happy to help, he got up and followed them out. They were in their car, so he tried to flag their attention. But as he did so, the two women in the front seat burst out laughing at him. Then they immediately hit the gas and shouted some kind of slur while flipping him the finger out the window. Well, Troubled Neighbor suddenly didn't feel so kind. Still clutching the pair of glasses, he opened up one of the trash cans outside and threw them in, before heading back into the restaurant. A few minutes later, and lo and behold, the group of girls returned in search of the missing spectacles. The waitress pointed at Troubled Neighbor and they came over asking where he'd put them. His response? "Oh, I put them in the trash outside after you gave me the middle finger." The girls left without apologizing, but then a further few minutes later, they came back again asking which trash can he'd thrown them in. Troubled Neighbor shrugged and gave them the finger and went back to eating his food, which was probably made all the more delicious thanks to that sweet side odor of revenge. You know what tastes even better than revenge, though? Being the first to know about all my latest videos. So hit those like and subscribe buttons, or I'll have to exact some kind of revenge.
Hey,
Just joking. Or am I? Right, what's next?
Just a
Naughty neighbors.
okay.
If you've ever been kept awake at night by loud, antisocial neighbors, you'll know just how annoying it can be. But some people don't just sit and take it. Oh no, they strike back. Like this couple who decided to exact revenge on the noisy people upstairs in a rather novel way.
Okay. Oh,
I wonder wonder how they like those loud stomping footsteps at 4 a.m.
Yeah, we can be loud too.
And then we've got Canadian comedian Matt O'Brien, who'd been suffering from the same problem. That is, until he realized he could connect to his annoying neighbor's Bluetooth speaker and play them a little something he made himself.
Your music sucks. Your music sucks.
The lesson? Don't annoy the comedian downstairs that can both produce music and hack your speakers. Nobody's taken it further than YouTuber Matthew BR, though, who invented his own special device to automatically take revenge if his neighbors are too loud. With a microphone attached to the wall, a nifty piece of circuitry, and 2 giant speakers, our man created an insane technological contraption. Anytime the neighbors are loud enough to hit red on the circuit for 10 solid seconds, the speakers blast annoying music back through the wall at them, and it works surprisingly well.
Our neighbors are playing their loud music again, as you can probably hear. So I've got the system all set up here.
Yeah.
Genius.
Not bad.
Now, admittedly, the original video features Matt blasting Who Let the Dogs Out to his neighbors, but I can't play that tune without the Baja Men taking all my ad revenue. But you get the idea, right? Either way, with all that loud music blasting both ways, I can't help but wonder if there's a third neighbor hiding outside the apartment holding a baseball bat.
That is actually genius, though. Like, see, like, stuff like that is like, you gotta go to such lengths to, like, I mean, I know if y'all had, like, a story to where I can relate. I've had noisy neighbors and all that. Yeah, I'm sure you have. Wow, that was actually genius, though. I mean, his was, like, the best one. The couple, I liked it theirs, too. I mean, they made it to where it makes stumping noises. Your music sucks. But his was like the best one. The fact that instead of just, being an angry mob, kicking the door down, telling them to knock the music off or we're going to knock you out. Hey, fight fire with fire. And they did. Now, the loud neighbor's going to be wondering why you're making so much racket. Hey.
Cursin' Courier.
Would you like music?
One day in April 2022, questionably named Reddit user SaltyWet247 was returning home from the supermarket with a heavy bag of groceries. When he got to his apartment block, a delivery man was stood outside with a parcel trolley. Salty let him in first while he checked his mailbox, but the delivery man got straight into the elevator and started running it up before Salty had a chance to get in with him. Considering Salty's apartment was on the 7th floor and he had all his groceries to carry, this was pretty annoying. But then things got a lot worse. The elevator stopped on the 4th floor and stayed there far longer than it should have. Then it went up to the 5th floor and stayed there for ages as well. Salty realized that the courier must have been leaving his trolley in the way of the elevator doors while he delivered the parcels, thus barring anyone else from getting in.
No.
What's more, the elevator kept going up after the 5th floor and kept stopping. Now Salty was incensed.
No.
Who did this guy think he was? So he decided to get petty. After waiting until the elevator got all the way to the 16th floor, Salty suddenly started dashing up the stairs, hitting every single elevator button on the way until he got to his apartment on the 7th floor.
Okay.
Then he waited in the stairwell. The elevator descended past his floor, and by the time it got to the 5th floor, Salty could hear the courier loudly cursing from inside as he was forced to stop for the 3rd time in a row. And it was only going to get worse. Yep, the only thing getting successfully elevated now was his blood pressure.
That was pretty good. No, that I could tell somebody would have knocked him out for that. You're gonna go on every floor, and you're gonna like make it to where you're preventing the elevator from getting to other people because you're doing your job? Are you kidding me? Like, I could understand that, okay, like, you had someone to hold the elevator for you, but, bro, you could have, you know what? That guy did it a lot smarter, though. He did it. He did the legal way possible to piss you off. He did the legal way possible. Since you want to take time, that's fine. That's fine. I
Get
got something for
rocked.
that. I
Over
mean,
in California,
wasted so
they're
much
known
time.
for having some pretty wild parties. But not everyone who lives there is so keen to get down. Geologist Melissa Scruggs doesn't usually mind it, but when a group of students next door stayed up all night partying, and for some reason moved a giant rock in front of her car, she saw red. Little did they know, you don't mess with Melissa Scruggs. At 7:30 a.m. on the dot, she went outside with her auto chipper, which is essentially a big noisy automatic drill. The students hadn't long been asleep, and they were gonna be nursing some pretty terrible hangovers. So Melissa put on her headphones, turned on the drill, and got to work smashing the boulder to pieces in the loudest, most aggravating way possible. And it wasn't a quick job either. She sent harsh, searing noise into her neighbor's house for an entire 4 hours.
4
That's
hours?
one rough wake-up call. Finally, her work was done, and she relented. Melissa didn't just get her revenge, she absolutely smashed it. Pooped out.
4 hours.
Nobody likes a school bully. So when one gets what's coming to them, there's nothing more satisfying.
Yeah, you better
Well,
run.
Brazilian BMA's viewer Luke Eckel used to be terrorized by just such a bully. And oh boy did he give them what was coming. The bully would routinely go around demanding food from the other students, threatening to beat them up if they didn't hand it over. Luke Eckel
Really?
had been the victim of this food thievery many times. But one day after yet another lost lunch, he decided it was the last straw. So after returning home from school, he did as all angry people would do. That's right, he took a great big dump in the toilet, put some gloves on, fished it out, then slid it straight onto a popsicle stick. Okay, maybe not as all angry people would do. Anyway, he shaped the turd so it could pass as an ice pop, then melted some chocolate in a bowl and gave it a good dipping to cover up the smell. I think you might have already guessed where this is going.
Wow.
Our hero then left the sticky brown mess in the freezer overnight to harden. The next day came and Luke Eckel packed a poopsicle into his lunchbox. And sure enough, when lunchtime came, the bully swagged his way over to Luke Eckel with a nasty gleam in his eyes. Without hesitation, Luke Eckel handed him the frozen butt truffle. The bully cackled, took
That
a big bite out of
explains.
it, and immediately spewed everywhere. Luke Eckel burst out laughing, and the bully ran off crying. Safe to say, Luke Eckel
That
was expelled. But you
was-
can bet that bully didn't steal anyone's food ever again. So you may not be able to polish a turd, but you definitely can cover one in chocolate.
That was
Keyed colleague.
clever.
If
Real
you find
clever.
a lost key with a phone
Disgustingly,
number attached
devilishly
to it,
clever.
you call the number to return it to its rightful owner, right? So when Emily McArdle from Liverpool, UK found this one,
That
she did
explains
just
the
that.
thumbnail.
But she
It's
was
not
surprised to find out
chocolate.
that the person on the other end was not happy to hear her voice. It turns out the key was part of an elaborate prank designed to get revenge on its apparent owner. You see, it didn't belong to Jeff at all. It was actually a fake key with his number written on it to entice people like Emily into unknowingly nuisance calling him. And whoever planted it had also planted a ton more, all marked with different names but the same number. Apparently Jeff, or whatever his real name is, had an old work colleague he didn't get along with, so they'd gone about scattering the keys everywhere they could. What's more, it turns out that the revenge prank has been happening all across the globe as part of a viral TikTok trend.
Wow. Bro.
I don't know what
Everywhere.
anyone did to deserve that, but it must have been pretty damn bad. I
Wow.
recommend trying to work things out face to face instead. I mean, communication is key after all.
No way. Are you sure this is passive aggressive? It's more extreme to me, knowing that they're passing keys around, not even his real name, just a random name, but his number, and imagine you got like 40 calls coming your way every day. Nah, man. You probably thinking it's spam, but no, it's just a random person calling you. Bro, that's karma. That's all I can say to that. That is. Can you say it's passive aggressive? Little, I'm not. I can't say that's extreme. I can't say that's extreme. But that was like probably the best passive aggressive I've ever seen. Probably the best.
Roomy retaliation. When you're living in the same house as someone, you're gonna have disagreements. It's pretty much unavoidable.
Yeah.
Some housemates respond to these spats more passive aggressively than others, though. One guy lived with someone that had a habit of putting the toilet paper on the wrong way round. So one day he told them to put it on the right way. But when he went to the restroom later on, he found this. Was that a bit of an overreaction from the roomie? Quite possibly, but I guess you just have to roll with it.
What?
Meanwhile, somebody else got revenge on their food-stealing roomie by letting them know they'd left them a slice of pizza. Only it was a slice with a slice taken out, if you get what I mean. Not gonna lie, I'd still have eaten it. But of all the roommate disagreements, couples are likely to have the worst. One such couple had a tiff in 2013, so one of them decided to apologize by making the other a very special boxed lunch. A delicious ham, cheese, and plastic sandwich. Ah yeah, it wasn't an apology at all. Just another passive-aggressive screw you. I know some people call American cheese plastic cheese, but they don't usually mean it literally.
I mean plastic.
Shaming the scammer.
The scammer.
Unfortunately, there are a lot of scammers in the world. I know I've fallen for a few, but sometimes they get exactly what's coming to them. Like when one tried to scam Reddit user Drunken Black Sheep out of $1,500 of her hard-earned cash. Sheep was in her mid-20s at the time and, in her own words, has a soft girly appearance and an eternal baby face. Because of this, despite her being quite knowledgeable about cars, mechanics would always assume she was clueless. Well, one day she was at a garage getting her oil changed when one of the mechanics gave her car a free inspection.
See, that's the thing about mechanics too. Like, ladies, if you're going to the car shop or the mechanic, whatever, bring a guy friend with you. All right, boyfriend, husband, take them with you, because I promise you may think that, oh, that person's not gonna, trick me or anything. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. Trust me. It always happens.
Afterwards, he solemnly told her that her vehicle was in such bad shape that it could break down at any second. To illustrate the point, he showed her the car's air filter, which was filled with dead grass, dirt, and dead insects.
You see how she looking at him like, man, I believe a damn thing you say. Yo, the look up,
Showed her the car's air filter, which was filled with dead grass, dirt, and dead insects.
I don't believe
But she
anything
knew her
you're
car
saying.
was fine, and she'd literally just replaced the air filter the day before. So this goon had put all that crap in himself to try and freak her out. Suddenly, a devious plan formed in Sheep's mind.
The look up,
Rather than immediately calling him out, she played along, pretending she knew nothing about cars and acting as upset as she could muster. Then she rang her dad, who's a mechanic, and got him to play along too. Everybody at the garage was watching now as Sheep cried down the phone about how much money she was going to lose. The mechanic could barely contain his smug delight. But then out of nowhere, Sheep's expression changed and she started laughing. The mechanic's smug face quickly turned to shock. Then she put her dad on loudspeaker. He was laughing too. Taking the air filter in her hand, Sheep told everyone how she'd only replaced it the previous day, so the mechanic must be a lying scam artist. She continued laughing, thrust the filter back at him, and told him to clean it out so she could leave. Now everybody, including all the other customers, were laughing. Everybody other than the mechanic, that is, whose face had gone completely red. Without another word, he took the filter and did as he was told. And after reinstalling her clean filter, she rode off into the sunset. Now that's what I call karma.
Wow.
Taking out the trash.
Clever, are you?
If you've ever worked in a kitchen, you'll know everyone's got to pull their weight, or the whole operation can go up in flames. Very literally. Well, Reddit user Elena247 works in a kitchen with one coworker who apparently didn't know that. Or more likely was just lazy. The coworker would routinely come in late, hungover, or not at all. And when she did come in, she'd bring in her own dirty dishes with her and dump them on the side to be washed by someone else. As well as that, she'd leave half-filled mugs of coffee lying around until they curdled.
Ew.
Then, when she was reprimanded about it, she dumped them by the dishwasher too.
What?
After weeks of cleaning up the lazy co-worker's mess, Elena finally reached the end of her tether. One day she came into work and was greeted with a big pile of gross, stinking dishes by the sink. Well, Elena knew exactly whose they were.
Nah, we are, like, I know most of y'all who go to work, I know you have a certain person on your shift that would just do something like that. Just leave their work for you to do while they go off and do absolutely nothing. I know somewhere deep down, the moment I clock out, I'm about to whoop your behind in the parking lot. I'm going to. I mean, I'm off work and everything, so I can understand them doing it while working. But no, I'm off work. So now I'm just a citizen now. I'm not part of that company until I clock back in. I'm whooping your butt in the parking lot. I'm for real. Like, I'm not gonna do my job, and you're gonna give me your job thinking it's all okie dokie, artichoke. I'm gonna choke you out.
So, without a second thought, she gathered them all up and threw them straight into the trash can with a satisfying smash. It's safe to say the lazy coworker stopped bringing her dirty dishes in after that. And hey, as well as being forced to clean her own dishes, maybe she cleaned up her act while she was at it.
And she need to clean up her looks
Bedroom
too.
banter. Everyone loves a
That's not
trip
the
to
only
the
thing that need to
beach,
be
right?
cleaned up.
Even if you don't like sand, what's not to love about sun and sea? However, I definitely don't want any of that in my house. So I can't imagine how the owner of this bedroom reacted after he got back from vacation and found his roommates had transformed it into this. The guy in question had won the vacation and gloated about it for months, much to his roomie's annoyance. So they decided he could stay on vacation forever. I can't lie, it might be petty as hell, but the sheer amount of work that went into this is undeniably impressive. And come on, it's definitely tidier than it was before.
Yeah.
Having said that, there's no way all that sand is going to be efficiently tidied from that room. I wouldn't be surprised if these guys were still finding the stuff all over the house in the years that followed. Was it worth it? I don't know.
Not
it
this
was an
in someone's
outstanding
room.
effort.
What?
Cough it up.
No, let me go back real quick. You see this, guys? They're acting like they're actually on the fucking beach, and they like, yeah. Like, are you kidding me, guys? Got on the Hawaiian shirts and everything, the swimming trunks, the sunglasses. They for real, and they got the doggone fake palm trees, thinking they for real in Hawaii or something. Guys, no. This would be embarrassing. I would be literally ashamed to call you friends if you thinking this is an idea. Okay, we don't have money to go on vacation. We can, I don't know, since it's all of us, let's brainstorm an idea where money can start rolling in and we can actually go on vacation. And then we can start doing this. You know what I'm saying? But nah, no. I mean, my guy on the floor, he is propped up. Like, this is the greatest idea ever. I can go on vacation and still be at home. Wow. Who would have never thought of that?
Although the COVID-19 pandemic made wearing face masks the norm, back in 2013 it was odd to see anybody wearing one unless you lived in Asia, where they've been used publicly for years. Reddit user Nishiwa didn't live in Asia, and sadly she'd recently been diagnosed with multiple cancers. The chemotherapy had left her weak and mostly confined to hospital, but on the rare occasion she was allowed out, she had to wear a mask to protect herself. Well, on one of these rare days, Nishiwa was out at her local mall and had sat down on a bench to relax. Suddenly, a young teenage boy came over to her and started making fun of her for no reason whatsoever. Though making fun is putting it lightly. He told her she had the plague, that she was putting everyone else at risk, and even went as far as to say she should go and die. Oh boy, seems like a nice kid then. And since Nishiwa stood up, which only encouraged the little brat to get closer and square up to her. But just as he was within inches of her, Nishiwa lowered her mask, coughed twice in his face, and followed it with a small oops.
I love that. I love that so much. Since you want to call me a plague, calling me hazardous and everything, bro, get closer. Yes.
The effect was immediate. The boy went as pale as a ghost, his mouth hung agape, and after a few seconds, he ran away. The Shiwa sat back down and relished in the moment. Despite the mask, there was no masking the sweet feeling of revenge.
Yes! That's the best one. Cough It Up is like the winner so far. That's hands down the most passive aggressive thing I've ever seen throughout the time. From parts 1 and 3, this was the best one. This was the best one. I didn't get violent. I just coughed on you. You can't arrest me for doing that. I coughed. I had the mask on. Yeah. Now you got it. Enjoy the rest of your life. Sick.
Car park chaos.
Love it.
If you drive a
Y'all
car
get close
and
to
you
me.
ever wrong someone, watch out. Because it seems there's no more popular way of getting back at somebody than messing with their precious automobile. You can help yourself by not parking like an idiot, though.
Who the f-
In other
parks
words,
like that?
this guy who made the
Man,
mistake
there's
of
no
parking over
way.
2 spaces at once.
There's no way.
In case you couldn't tell, that's a whopping great dumpster that someone's plastic wrapped to the vehicle. And whoever owned this car made the same mistake,
You got people
though
parking
their
like that.
punishment was arguably
You
worse.
got people parking
Someone
like that.
managed to literally flip this little smart car over onto its side, so it only took up 1 space. More effective than flipping the bird, I suppose. But car-related vengeance isn't just reserved for rogue parkers. When one man had the bright idea of cheating on his girlfriend, she
Oh
paid
my
him
God,
back in a rather
the
novel
meme
fashion.
of all
That is,
memes.
by investing in an absolute gold mine's worth of sanitary towels and completely covering his car with them. That's one almighty effort. Period.
That is.
Where there's a will. As sad as it can be, death is a natural and inevitable part of life.
Remember how Eddie
But
said,
if
when
you've
there's a
worked
will,
hard, by the end
there's
of
a
your life, you might
scam.
have a good amount of cash to leave to whoever you want. Reddit user GamerNerd93's grandpa had prepared early for the eventuality and written his will way back in 1998. The house he owned with his wife was to be sold along with all their possessions, and the money split 3 ways between GamerNerd's father, aunt, and cousin. It makes sense, as all 3 were raised by the couple from birth. The problem was, ever since the will had been written, GamerNerd's father had demanded that the lion's share of the money go straight to him. Why? Well, he didn't have a reason other than greedily claiming it was rightfully his. Anyway, jump to March 2022, and the greedy papa had made the 10-hour journey to Grandpa's house just to start up the age-old argument again. By this
Really?
point, everyone was sick of it, so old Gramps decided to take action. GamerNerd got a phone call while his dad was still away. It was Gramps, informing him that the will was now being split 7 ways, to include GamerNerd and his sisters as well. Meaning far from getting the lion's share, his dad is now getting a whole lot less than before. Zing! It just goes to show, where there's a will, there's a way of getting the perfect passive-aggressive revenge. Trashing the Trasher.
I mean, like.
Alright,
who
settle
are
in,
you?
because if you think you've heard some wild tales so far, nothing compares to this one.
Okay.
Reddit user Donut Clouds lives in a quiet neighborhood in Pennsylvania, USA. Or at least it was quiet until his super trashy neighbor moved in. By super trashy, I'm talking blaring terrible music at all hours, smoking while 9 months pregnant, and being a general nuisance. Worst of all, though,
Smoking while 9 months pregnant? Should I even say something about that? You're right, I shouldn't.
she started throwing her trash bags over into Donut Cloud's yard,
Oh.
which is bad enough on its own. But the neighborhood's garbage policy requires all trash be put into a special purple bag or it won't be collected. Well, Donut Cloud's neighbor, we'll call her Susie, didn't want to pay the small amount extra for the purple bags. So the bags she yeeted into Donut Cloud's yard weren't even being picked up. When Donut Clouds confronted her about it, she just laughed. And the cops didn't care either. So it went on for months, with Donut Clouds having no option but to buy twice the number of purple bags to wrap up Susie's trash as well as his own. But it couldn't go on forever. It was a relatively cheap neighborhood, and Donut Clouds knew that although he owned his home, Susie only rented hers. A devilishly devious plan began to form. Donut Clouds got the number for Susie's landlord, rang him, and offered to buy the house next door for a cut above its market value. The landlord jumped at the offer. So the very next thing Donut Clouds did was walk up to the fence Susie so loved throwing her trash over and handed her a big fat eviction notice. Oh, Susie didn't like that. But no matter how much she protested, she couldn't argue with the law. 31 days later and Susie was gone, while Donut Clouds had just netted himself a whole new patch of land. Damn, He really took out the trash in more ways than one.
Hands down, cough it up, the winner. My winner. What was your winner in this part of passive aggressive? Bruh. Like, it's so many of these I can relate to. Like, nah, man, you're not gonna. Like, you got certain people to where, like, bro, you're minding your own business and someone just coming out of nowhere to pick a fight for no reason. Like, are you that desperate for attention? Are you that desperate to be noticed or something? I mean, okay. Like, if you want some attention that bad, there you go. There you go. Now you go get some attention now in the hospital. Nah, I shouldn't go that far. Remember, this is passive aggressive. He'll probably go to CVS or something. There you go. Much better. But yeah, that is my winner for this video. Cough it up. I like the sound of that. But hey, hope y'all enjoyed the video, y'all. If y'all want to stay tuned, you can stab the buttons down below. You will see the next video. Hope you have a good day. Stay safe. And of course, you already know. Peace.